So we can start with North Carolina, and you've got it up. Fantastic.
Yes.
Section 1 is just victim information, date of birth, mailing address, social security number. They just want your last 6 digits, which is good. An email you can be reached. That's new. We haven't seen that on other applications. Section 2 is for the claimant information. And it says complete the section if the victim is deceased, incompetent, or a minor. That doesn't apply to any of us, I believe, so we're going to skip Section 2.
Okay.
Section 3 asks for your insurance information. List out any insurance you have. I have Medicare, and there's something wrong with my Medicaid. But I have Medicaid and Medicare. I don't have private insurance. You're going to list out your insurance, and it gives you an opportunity there to give a brief description of what happened and the injuries that have been sustained. That is the section where you can put you've been human trafficked for experimentation with directed energy weapons, and it has caused an ongoing traumatic brain injury. That will fit in that one line. And then say, please see attached cover letter for more information.
Sure.
In the cover letter we have, Sandra has, she'd be happy to give you a copy of the cover letter. And you just change it from California to North Carolina in this particular case.
Okay, Scott, you said human trafficked and experimented. What did you say about experimenting?
We're saying that a brief description of what happened and the injuries sustained. We're saying that we've been human trafficked for experimentation with neuroweapons and directed energy weapons, which have caused an ongoing traumatic brain injury. TBI.
Okay, hold on. You said, okay, just let me go back a little bit for a second.
Sure.
Trafficked,
Human trafficked for experimentation.
Okay. With neural weapons.
Neuroweapons.
N-E-U-R-O.
Neuro weapons. WEAPONS.
Yeah, I got that. But the next part you said, and directed energy weapons.
And directed energy weapons.
And then go ahead.
That has caused an ongoing traumatic brain injury.
Rose.
And then I would say, please see attached cover letter for more.
I'll have that posted.
And we're going to get the cover letter from you, Sandra?
Yes, I'll have it. I'll upload it to everyone that sends me the email to Sandra@ishallbloom.com. Sandra@ishallbloom.com. So just send me an email. Or put it in the chat. But sometimes once I close out, I miss the chat. So if you email me, I'll send it right away. That's okay.
Now,
okay, now let me just
go ahead.
Let me just say I do have difficulties with sending out emails, and so I'm going to send you a text, Sandra. Just let me know if you get it, okay?
Sure.
Or maybe I've already got my email. Can you just double check?
Didn't hear it being. Did you send it right now?
Lauren, okay, I'll send it now.
You send it to Sandra. And that's everyone. If they can send me an email, Sandra@ishallbloom.com, and I will attach the cover letter. I made the I changed it for me for Texas, so I just highlighted the areas that I changed.
Nice.
Nope, I didn't get it yet, but I'll let you know when it comes.
Okay, I don't know why I have you in here like this. It says Sandra at ishallbloom.com. Is that right?
Uh-huh. I. Uh-huh.
Okay.
The letter I shall bloom.
And I'm just going to send you a test right now.
Okay. If not, send me a text on the phone number. Cut and paste it in there.
Because what usually happens with my emails, and I don't want to hold this up, is that it goes into queue and it
Mm-hmm.
sits there, so nothing goes out.
Yes. And someone put it in the chat as well. Put their email and I'll get it.
Do you see it?
No. It's probably not going to happen now. Yes, I got it. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Now, Section 4 talks about crime information, and since these crime victim compensation funds pay out for human trafficking, we're trying to combine that with our targeting information. So where it says type of crime, we're going to put human trafficked for experimentation with directed energy weapons.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Scott. So I know we was talking about last week that it might be possible that I could do two because of my shooting and then also for human trafficking. So, okay, so do I need a different form or just
you're going to use the same form for both. You
Gotcha.
may, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, I looked in your state. There's a statute of limitations for the shooting. It only goes back 2 years, and this happened over 2 years ago. So I would apply anyways for the shooting, but I wouldn't expect to be very successful because they may come back and say, since this happened over 2 years ago, you're not applicable. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't apply and give it a shot. Maybe they'll make an exception. For the being human trafficked for experimentation with directed energy weapons, the second question they asked for is the date of the crime. I would put the date that you first realized that you were being targeted. A lot of people come to the conclusion that they've either been targeted since they were a child and they only had the V2K when they were 25. I knew that I was being targeted as soon as I heard the V2K 23 years ago. So I put 2001 as the date that my targeting started. As far as the time is concerned, if you remember that, I would put that. If not, leave it blank. It asks if the crime has been reported. If you have reported this to the police and have a police report, you can put the date reported. If you've applied if you've called the FBI and you've complained to them, you can put the date that you reported that to the FBI and then put under that line name of law enforcement agency. If it was the police department, you would file the police department and the case number. If it was the FBI, you would just put FBI and they didn't issue you a case number because they didn't investigate it. So you would just put none for case number. If a lot of what we're looking for as far as a police report is something that's very simple. It's something that says that you're being assaulted with directed energy weapons, and that you don't know you don't know who the perpetrators are or where it's coming from. That leaves it very general. It documents the fact that you're being assaulted with the weapon, and it doesn't confuse the matter and give them an excuse to send you a different direction as far as back to the police department to have them investigate or whatnot. Now, going into the police department is a little bit scary. So we have some recommendations that you do. What I would do is I would send in the application. I fill it out. I would send in the application, and they're going to send you an acknowledgement letter, which Sandra will give you a copy of, the one for California. And then they will send you a letter that says we need a police report. That letter in writing is what you want to bring into the police station along with a friend or a family member or somebody who's going to keep an eye on you and sort of corroborate what you're saying. Most of the time when you go into a police department and you complain about this, their response is, have you taken your meds today?
Yes.
You want to say, here's something in writing from the state of California that's requesting a police report, and that's why you're there, to document the fact that you're being assaulted with the directed energy weapons, and get a copy of a police report so you can submit to them. So that will take some of the pressure off of going into the police station. You're going to send the application in. They'll send you a list of requirements, and then you take that letter from them into the police station with a friend, and you say, I'm here to file a police report. I need something along the lines of what this letter says, that I'm being assaulted with directed energy weapons. I don't know who the perpetrators are. I don't know where it's coming from. All I know is I'm the recipient of abuse from these neural weapons and directed energy weapons.
Hey, Scott,
Yes.
could you, I didn't quite get all the wording when you said for the type of crime. Could you go over that again? It was human trafficking, and what was the rest of that?
Human trafficked for experimentation with directed energy weapons.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Scott, let me ask you a question. This is Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
I have also sent this. Well, I did a formal letter to President Biden. So would I also add him on the line where name of law enforcement agency, or just leave that as FBI?
I would leave that as FBI. I wouldn't. President Biden's not a law enforcement agency. You'd either put police or FBI in that particular section.
Okay, I just thought maybe and I see it does say law enforcement. I get it, but I just wondered if they had, if there was any additional information. But I get it.
No, if you've got a police report that just indicates that you're being assaulted with directed energy weapons, then I would put name of law enforcement agency, that police department, and the case number. But if you haven't gone to the police or the FBI, I would leave that section blank. They will send you a letter that is requesting that you go and get a police report.
Well, no, I haven't physically gone into the FBI, but I have contacted them. Me and Karen Stewart both did. And I don't recollect the date at this point in time, but they were notified via phone call.
Then I would put FBI there, and then under case number I would put none. And the line below that is the location of the crime. And here you have two options. You can say when you were first assaulted and where it was, or you can indicate that it is an ongoing crime that follows you wherever you go. And then I would put your city of residence and your county there.
So if you had multiple addresses where they've attacked you, how do you put that down?
Under location of crime, I would put this first started at this address and has followed me everywhere I go up until now.
Okay.
Oh, and Scott, so if they're in different states though, like, I've moved a lot of times with this program. So I'm able to fill it out in different states. So if that's what he meant as well, like in different states, then you would fill out a form for that state, for that address, right?
There is a question down below that says, was restitution ordered? And there's a question for yes or no and the amount. I would use the state you're currently residing in, because there's a statute of limitations. They only go back 2 years for human trafficking, and you want to get credit for those 2 years. So if you put the state you currently reside in, you can go back those 2 years and get paid for human trafficking if qualified.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Now,
I wanted to make a comment about going into once we go to the police law enforcement. A lot of us don't even have friends and people and family anymore. You're always alone. So we had came up with a way of calling each other. Like if Lauren is getting ready to go to the station, then she can call me or whoever we designated for that all time. And that person will talk to the phone. And that I'll be on the phone. So she'll call me and she'll say, hey, I'm going to the law enforcement. Can you be on the phone? So you can have that phone open with another person there listening to the whole conversation as well, if you don't have anyone to go with you. What do you suggest? What do you think about that?
That's very creative, and that's a very good backup plan.
Also, with that, I had suggested too, well, I didn't suggest when I said that, but I think that it would be advantageous to have more than one person on the call, just in case somebody drops off for whatever reason, because they like to play phone tag on our phones. So to add to that, it would be good to have at least 2 people or 3,
Yeah.
Yeah, the more the better. That would help.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang.
The next section.
Somebody obviously liked that idea.
The next section says name of offender. Here, we're not sure without a shadow of a doubt and proof who the offender is. So I'm putting unknown because I'm not sure. For 10 years I thought it was my neighbor until I realized I was wrong. And
putting this up on my screen.
You got it up on your screen?
Yes.
Yes.
My name's Donna. I'm from Taylor, Michigan. I'm in Taylor, Michigan right now. You just made a point of telling people. I'll just put it point blank. I know who my perpetrators are and where they're located. I do have several police reports, Taylor, Michigan. I have a digital forensics corporation I've hired. I just wanted to say that I have been blessed to know who my perpetrators are and where they're located. I want to say one more thing, too. One of the main perpetrators is an ex-lieutenant of our United States military. This all stems, I truly believe it in my heart. I will say her name, Gail Sherelle Northcross. She's residing in Monrovia, California, and she knows a lot about DEWs. So, and as well as her son, who is here in Michigan. So I just wanted to share that I know who my perpetrators are and where they're located, and that the main one lives in Monrovia, California.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to put unknown, but if you want to put the name of the offender and the relationship that they have to you, you can. My concern is the Crime Victim Compensation Fund may say this is a case for the police to investigate, and because no charges have been filed, there was no restitution, hasn't gone to court. So it may confuse the situation with the Crime Victim Compensation Fund, but you know, as if you, I don't know your experience or your perception of what's happening. If you want to put the name of the offender and the relationship to the victim, you know, you can. That's up to you. The next question would ask you if it's gone to court.
It will be filing a civil lawsuit against. This involves a company. This involves two companies. They're the umbrella company. The parent company is called Tricor Management Incorporated, and the companies that are sort of like the entities up under this parent company are Detroit Urban Survival Training and Threat Management Center. I have never met any of these people in person. Okay, it's a long story. I was referred to this company by an organization, and ever since I gave them my information over the phone 4 years ago, it's been holy hell. So I have gotten all of my evidence, witnesses. I have video, audio recordings. I have medical documents from Henry Ford Hospital. I have an RF detector detecting the frequency. Recording the frequency that is still in our home. I'm ready for them, Scott. I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would mark
That's what I'm saying. Power, yeah, warrior. Shoot.
That's right. That's right. That's right. The more you push, the more I push back.
You would mark no for it's gone to court and no for restitution ordered. Under warrant and name of investigating officer, unless you've gone to the police and filed a police report, there would be no warrant or name of an investigating officer. So you'd leave that part blank.
My case is open and active here in Taylor, Michigan.
Then if you've got a case number and whatnot, you're going to indicate under name of law enforcement agency who you reported it to and what the case number is and the location of the crime.
Absolutely.
The next section at the bottom of the page, first page, is injuries information. And somebody had asked where they can get the form. What you want to do is, it was Ray, and Ray, I've been meaning to get back to you. We're still on for tonight.
Okay, let me stop you for a second, Scott. This is Lauren. You're saying the injury pay? Okay, at the bottom.
Yeah, the injury information at the page. I was just going to give somebody instructions on how to find the form so they can follow along. You want to Google North Carolina Victim Compensation Application PDF. So under information,
and I have it up too on the flyer. Okay. Awesome. Sorry.
I think I texted her the information. So I'm not sure if she received it, but I just wanted to give it to her, make sure everybody's on the same page. The injuries information, it starts at the bottom of page 1. It says the victim received injuries from the crime. We've all received injuries, and we can list them out.
Okay, Scott, I'm sorry. I didn't get a chance to ask the question. You're down on injuries. I'm still up here where it says amount and then warrant number and name of investigating officer. I didn't. Maybe I missed you on that part.
Oh, no problem. It asks if the case has gone to court. In most cases, we would mark no. And if it has gone to court, it's asking, was restitution ordered? Did you receive any money? And in most cases, we would put no. And if there is a warrant number for the offender or an investigating officer, you would put that information, but most of us don't have that. So I would recommend leaving that blank. Unless you reported it to a law enforcement agency and you have a law enforcement agency working on your case, then you would give them the information as far as the investigating officer.
Okay, let me ask you, so that, would that be in relation to the top part where it says crime information? So like this lady that I just
Someone
heard
needs to mute.
speak, she was,
I hear someone talking. Can someone mute, please? Because we have a conversation going. I can hear you in the background, please. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, under
okay, so on
law
that
enforcement.
crime information, if we had a case, that's where we would put that information, correct?
Yes, if you had a case,
Okay.
you would, with the law enforcement agency you have a case with, and the case number to the right of it.
Okay, we can go on to the injuries information. I'm good. Thank you.
Sure. It says that.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm a little off topic here because I was listening to the woman who was speaking just a minute ago about documenting these weapon attacks, and I was just wondering how would I go about doing that. I apologize for taking you away from this your task.
No problem. It's very important that you keep a diary of what's going on, whether it's on your phone with Google Documents or it's a notepad with dates and times. You want to describe what I try and capture are discrepancies with mental illness, things that don't make sense. You want to document as much as you can as far as the pain and suffering that you've been dealing with. So when this does come public and they do start paying out financial and medical compensation, you have a diary that dates back to, let's say, 2014, which means that you have been a victim for 10 years. You would get compensation for 10 years. I've been a victim for 21 years. I don't have documentation that says I've been a victim for 21 years. I started keeping a diary about 2014. So the other thing you want to do is a lot of times you get burns with microwave burns. You get twitching. I know they knock my left knee out of socket. They do it all the time. So I videotape myself putting my left knee back into socket by straightening my leg. They make me throw up. I videotape myself being made to throw up. I take pictures of the microwave burns, the red spots, the weird things that happen to my body. I try and document as much as I can. And then I make videos when I get frustrated and they keep me up all night. I'll sit and I'll put the phone up and the camera up, and I'll make a video and describe what I'm dealing with and why I'm being kept up and the unnatural ways in which it's being done. But the most important thing is keeping a diary, because the diary is actually submissible in a court of law. So keeping either a diary in your phone with the dates and the times that you were attacked, or in a notebook with the dates and the times that you're attacked. But you want to keep a journal of what you're experiencing, so you have some sort of evidence. You don't just show up in 2025 and say, yeah, I've been a victim for 11 years, and they say, well, where's your proof? Where are your medical records? Where's that? You've got a number of things that you can present to them that demonstrate that you've been suffering with this for X amount of years.
Thank you so much. I really so much appreciate this. This would be one aspect of what we need to do, and I'm also asking about the scientific evidence of the waves. I believe that woman that was speaking just a minute ago referenced her being able to document the actual effects or the frequencies of the weapon. Did I misunderstand?
Not everyone's going to have that, and there are John Kingston in Utah is somebody that can do a report and measure the frequencies that are leaving your body, and apparently locate implants that you may have in your body. Not everyone, I think, is price is $1,000, and you have to fly to Utah. Not everyone can afford it. Not everyone has it. It is considered a professional document, and people do take it seriously. The only doctor that can really observe the changes in the brain is a neurologist. And there's only one neurologist that's currently doing that, and her name is Dr. Dezhenko in New Jersey. But from what I heard, I think as of yesterday, she stopped using the word Havana syndrome and started using the word traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, so, she's my doctor also.
She's your doctor? Good.
Yeah.
You're in good hands. So
yeah, she's great. She's great.
Yeah, she's got a 3-day battery of tests. I don't know if the medical association has told her to stop diagnosing Havana syndrome or not, but somebody mentioned yesterday she's now using traumatic brain injury. And that's
the latest. Scott, that's the latest. Excuse me for cutting you off, but that is the latest terminology. If you all think about it, they've changed names on us about 6 times already. So this is just one more added name. But this is what they're using in Congress now, and I see Dr. Lynn Burr is using it more often than not. So this is the latest term. It's, AHI.
Anomalous.
Anomalous. Yeah. I can never say that word.
She put Havana syndrome for my diagnosis, though, but that was early on in the year.
Good for you. Good for you. So under that section, did victim receive injuries from the crime? You want to put yes, and you want to put anomalous health incidents and ongoing traumatic brain injury. It's not every time they talk to you with the V2K that's traumatic and that's a brain injury. Yeah. So you want to reiterate the fact that this is an ongoing thing and it's a traumatic brain injury. And if you have more to say, there's only a small line to put there. You can say, please see attached for more information. The line below that asks if the victim receives medical treatment. Of course, we've all been seeing physicians for these anomalous health incidents. I go into the doctor, I complain of something, he gives me something, it doesn't work. I go back 2 weeks later, I say that didn't work, he gives me something else, that doesn't work. So it was easy for me to get a letter from my doctor saying that I'm experiencing anomalous health incidents. That is one of the 2 things that they're going to require you get is a police report and a letter from your doctor. They're not asking for a letter from a neurologist that shows the damage to your brain. They're just asking to see if you've received treatment for anomalous health incidents and a traumatic brain injury. And in that case, you would mark yes, your physician's name, address, city, state, and zip code. If
Scott,
you were,
so I'm following on this Maryland application. I'm assuming it's some of the questions are the same.
Yeah, they're all basically the same, each state.
Okay. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
I'd just like to add, Donna, that I do the medical documentations that I mentioned earlier from Henry Ford Health during an EEG, an electroencephalograph. It is noted they started jerking my limbs as I was so stupid. You would think these are amateurs that I'm dealing with. It's noted in the documentation that these were not epileptic seizures, and that from a medical point of view, there was no medical explanation for me being jerked legs. It states that 10-second episode, as the neurologist called it, a second episode, left hand jerking, which was followed by back and forth shuddering of the lower torso.
That's a perfect example of an anomalous health incident.
That is.
That's right. I've got the copies of it.
Now,
I tell you, this lawsuit, I am ready.
All right. Now, the same thing with the approaching your doctors is going to be the same thing as approaching the police department. What you want to do is apply with the Victim Compensation Fund and then have them write you a letter that says that you need a letter from your doctor that describes the anomalous health incidents you've been experiencing. That way you have something in writing. Your doctor's not writing something blindly. You can fax him a copy or email him a copy and say, this is the letter that I'm getting from the State Crime Victim Compensation Fund that's requesting a letter that describes the anomalous health incidents that I've incurred over the years and seen with you. Could you please write me a letter that I'm not asking you to diagnose me with Havana syndrome, but I am asking you to help explain the AHIs that I've experienced.
I also had an MRI done, and as I was up in the machine, they hit me across my forehead. I'm like, what a bunch of dummies. You actually are hit. I'm thinking in my brain, in my mind, as I'm up in the machine, pain shot across my forehead, and they've got this thing on my head that's recording everything. Well, the documentation, the medical documentation does mention like a bright spot or something that was captured during my MRI. Yes. So I'm ready for I want to curse so bad. I want to curse so damn bad, but I'm ready. I am a soldier in the army of the Lord.
Yeah.
So you can't. You understand?
Yeah.
I got you. That's right.
You have so much.
Come on with it. I got something for you.
Since you have so much documentation, under where it says, did victim receive medical treatment, I would put yes, the physician,
absolutely,
the address, city, state, and then please see attached medical forms.
I even have a witness, my supervisor.
I can't. I'm getting lost with my questions. I'm sorry.
All right, let's go back to.
I have to start over because I'm.
Sure. Where'd we lose you? What part do you need to go over again?
Just go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
Okay. Under injuries information on the second page at the top, it says hospital where victim was treated. I've been to an ER because of this, so I could put the emergency room in Santa Monica. I did not receive counseling, but I followed up with a GI. So I would indicate no for counseling in regards to the hospital treatment. But I do see a psychiatrist, so I may consider putting, did I receive counseling? Yes, psychiatrist, address, city, state, and zip. You can leave it blank, or you can fill in the information if you've received counseling for any injury that was sustained.
Okay, so this part for me is tricky. So when I went to the emergency room, I went for pain. I ended up in the behavioral health unit. Okay. Did I want counseling? No, because I didn't need counseling. Did they offer me counseling? Not by choice. Okay. So should I just leave this blank?
Yeah, you can go ahead and leave that blank. You don't have to disclose the fact that they put you on a 5150.
Okay.
They're going to, you sign an authorization at the end. They're going to have access to your medical records. So you may want to try and be as truthful as you can and say the hospital where victim was treated. I would say the hospital, and then for pain. Under counseling, you had counseling during the 72 hours for the 5150, but beyond that you didn't. So you didn't have ongoing counseling, so I would put no for that section. And then the rest of that section there asks if the victim was deceased due to injuries from the crime, name of funeral home, and address. It doesn't apply to most of us. On the left, under injuries information, it wants you to attach all itemized medical bills related to the injuries received from the victim. If victim is deceased, attach a funeral bill and a copy of the death certificate. So you want it. I know everybody's been very good about keeping records and keeping their medical bills and whatnot.
I haven't.
Copies of those and send those in with the application, because I believe there's some sort of compensation for the money that was spent.
Okay, so in my case, Scott, I have Medicaid, so there is no bills. But on the other hand, I can't even get my medical records. They have been denied by a doctor.
They'll be able to get them. They'll be able, the state of North Carolina or whatever state you're in will be able to get them.
May I say, step in here? This is Donna. Because I work in behavioral health at the Central City Integrated Health in Detroit, Michigan, downtown Detroit. Could you repeat? Why are you not able to get access to your own medical records, especially if you have signed a consent form?
I signed 4 consent forms. I was told when I went to pick my records up at the last hospital that I ended up at when I got shot that my records had been moved to a off-campus location under lock and key. When I called that department, the woman that I spoke with said, "Oh, no, you haven't asked for your records." I said, "Yes." Then she said, "Oh, yeah, I see where you have one time." I said, "No. This will make the 4th or 5th time at that time." Then she put me on hold. She came back and said, "Oh, okay. Well, I see it says a doctor here says you're not to be able to obtain your records." A doctor.
Wait a minute. Okay. See, I'm getting really pissed off here now. The doctor.
It's a part of the program. We know that what's happening, or the paperwork. We know legally she should she should have her records.
Yeah.
But we know when we're a part of this program, things happen. So in this application, they're going to get the records. They're going to get what she signed this, and they're going to get the information, because if there's money involved, they're going to find a way to try not to pay. So they're going to request the records. But we know in this program, the criminals are involved in the medical field, of course, doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs. So that's basically what's going on. Maybe you guys, I know you're in Detroit. You're not in North Carolina, but you know the system. So maybe you can help her further out. But we know that they're going to get the records, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to get the records. You can read Section 7, the certification. It gives them authorization to contact Medicare, Medicaid, all your doctors to get the medical records to verify what you're saying is correct.
I hope this is not too late to suggest this, ma'am, but start snapping pictures of every documentation that you sign so you can have proof that, yes, I did sign an authorization.
I have. Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Then the pictures sometimes disappear. And then, so USBs, I think a lot of things we have to, and you just have to keep those USBs like it's like gold. Everything that comes off the computer and off your phone, you got to put them in a little USB if you can.
And then print them off, which I will be, I have stuff that I printed off that I will be taking to the Michigan TI meeting tomorrow and sharing them.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Good.
I snap you, I print you. Yeah. When I snap you, I print you.
Yes.
this phone call is just so wonderful. I'm so grateful to God that I found all of you folks.
Me too.
Scott, I'm in California.
Hi.
Would it be possible to get your email address and connect with you?
Sure, I'll tell you what. Let me give you my phone number and email.
Yay.
Okay.
I love when that happens, when we connect with someone in the same state, huh?
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I have a group in California too, so we can put you on the list and get you on the call every other week.
Thank you.
My
I
phone number is
know.
310
Uh-huh.
339
Uh-huh.
0162.
Okay.
And my email is mindcontrol
Uh-huh.
information @gmail.com.
Okay.
And if for some reason I don't get back to you right away or I don't pick up the phone, shoot me a text, send me another email. Okay. I got put on the Targeted Justice Support people website.
Uh-oh.
So
wow.
My phone started ringing at 5:45 this morning. And
Yeah.
I've talked to 5 people before this conference. So I get a lot of calls and I get busy and sometimes the emails get buried and I miss them. So it's
no worries.
nothing personal. It's just that I'm getting overwhelmed with support calls and spending hour and a half with these people that call to try and help them out because there's no one else to help them and I can't turn them away. So
I know. That's so wonderful of you. God bless you.
Most of them just need somebody to listen. So it's not really exciting. It's more fun when it's interactive and I can give them helpful solutions and coping methods and whatnot. But a lot of the calls are just people complaining for an hour and a half, and there's really not much I can do to help them if they've monopolized the conversation with complaints. But please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to have you join the group. We had a meeting last night or Wednesday night, and we do it every 2 weeks. And we're concentrating on networking people that live near each other so they have people to complain to and they don't exhaust their relationships with their family and their friends. They're going to keep two separate lives. They're going to keep a normal life with their family and friends, and then they're going to have a set of TI friends that they can get together with for coffee or pancakes and complain to.
Right. So, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'll be getting in touch with you. Thank you.
Sounds great.
Let me just add really quickly, Scott, before you go ahead.
Sure.
I was at 2 hospitals when I got shot, so I was put out of both of them. One, I was put on the curve. But the first hospital, I just did a call yesterday to get my medical release. And for the record, Sandra, I hope this goes on the record. I did request again yesterday for North Carolina Baptist Hospital at the time, also known as ATRAM, to release my records. And I still have not heard from the supervisor of the medical records. So that's just for the record. So there's 2 hospitals that I have not got my medical records from. Okay, Scott, you can continue. Thank you.
Under Section 5, it says below, choose all that apply for victim or claimant. We're all the victims.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, we're the victims. You're going to mark lost wages because you've lost work. You haven't been able to get to work. They've kept you up all night. You've been late. You've missed days. We all have medical and dental expenses, so we're going to mark medical and dental. I have mental counseling because I see a therapist just to talk to him and make sure that I'm on the straight and narrow. So I would mark mental counseling. And then anything other that may apply, you would click the other box.
So other would be like what?
I can't think of an example off the top of my head. Let's say you were disabled and you need certain adjustments to your house in order to make it disabled friendly.
I have had to have that done, yes.
Let's say that you had issues with your vehicle and you need either repairs or a new vehicle. I would mark, that under other, and then please see attached. I would mark, if you've got additional expenses, mark other. There's not a place for you to list out the other expenses, so they will send you a letter asking what your other expenses were. In the acknowledgement letter that they send, after you send in the application, it lists out the benefits for your particular state and what's available. So you'll get more information as far as what's available after you submit the letter of the application. There's one thing that's very important. They have a 30-day deadline. Once you submit the application, you've got to get to the police report and your doctor and get that stuff back in within 30 days, or they make you wait 7 years before you can apply again. So
I guess I would need to say, I'm sorry, Scott. I have to say it while I'm thinking about it. So as far as the doctor is concerned, I would just say, what do I say?
Anomalous health incidents. You're not asking him to diagnose you with Havana syndrome. He'll get in trouble with the medical board. You want him to say that you've been dealing with anomalous health incidents that haven't made any sense, medical sense, since you've been attacked with these weapons.
That's good. That's really it.
Now, the next question under types of economic loss, it asks if the victim was employed at the time of crime. Most of us were, so you would put yes in your employer. They'll verify whether or not you still work there and whatnot. Under other, you would put under other, if you're listing out on your cover letter, you would put, and you lost your job, you would put disability, request for disability. Section 6 asks for, has an attorney been retained for purposes of representing victim or claimant in a civil suit related to the crime? Most of us don't have an attorney since we don't know who the perpetrators are. We should be beyond a shadow of a doubt, so we would mark no, with the exception of the one lady who is going to put down the information. She may have hired an attorney or attempted to hire an attorney in the past. She can put that information there.
Well, I think at some point most of us have tried to hire an attorney. It's just that because of our civil rights and human rights have been removed, we can't get one.
Yeah, not a lot of not a lot want to represent us.
So should I put attempted to hire?
I would stick to no, because you're able to retain the attorney for the purposes of representing you in a civil suit.
Okay.
The question below that asks if a civil suit has been filed, or do you anticipate filing a civil suit as a result of the crime? At this section, I would put a civil suit has not been filed. Of course, we anticipate filing a suit as a result of the crime once the media starts acknowledging the fact that we're being assaulted with directed energy weapons. But if you answer yes to a civil suit being filed, they're going to think that you may be getting a judgment of some sort, and it may affect the benefit amount that they decide to give you. So unless you have
put no there.
go ahead.
Do I put no?
Yes, I would put no.
Okay.
Have you applied for other financial assistance? If you've applied for disability or something along those lines, there's not much financial assistance available. So for most of us, we would put no. But they're keeping track of the money that's been given to you as a part of the crime, so they can deduct it off of what you're eligible for. So unless you've applied for financial assistance in some way through an agency, you would mark yes in the agency name. But for most of us, it's going to be no, because there are no agencies that are really out there giving financial assistance to victims.
Well, you know what I think is going to happen here, Scott? Excuse me for cutting you off. I think what's going to happen, because Medicaid is probably going to get whatever money I get because they paid my bill. You see how that happens? So they're like the third party. So I probably won't, at the end of the day, get hardly anything.
Well, you've got copays that are involved with Medicare and Medicaid, so you've got a little bit of money that is there. But I'm talking like money for prescriptions. I don't think Medicaid covers your prescriptions. The money that you pay out for prescriptions, the money you pay out for over-the-counter stuff in the pharmacy. Any expense that's related to providing relief for your suffering, or anything medical related that comes out of your pocket, keep the receipt and submit it as a medical receipt.
Oh,
I don't believe that the Crime Victim Compensation Fund is going to pay back Medicaid unless Medicaid files a application with the State Victim Compensation Fund to be compensated.
Well, I'm pretty sure they will now after this conversation.
Well, if they pay out, if the Victim Compensation Fund pays out, Medicaid may do that. It won't affect you, because they'll just be recouping the money they spent on your medical expenses. So it shouldn't affect you in any way.
Okay.
The question below that says victim or offender auto insurance. That asks for your auto insurance information, address, city, state, and zip. I don't know why they want your auto insurance information, but they're asking for it. Section 7, I'm going to read it because it's a certification. It says, I authorize Victim Compensation Service to request and obtain any information or records required to determine the eligibility of my claim for a period not to exceed the full processing of this application. I agree that if I recover any money from the offender or from any other source of payment for my injury, I will pay it to the Victim Compensation Services, or that amount may be deducted from the amount of compensation for which I am eligible. I agree that...
Stop right there for a second, Scott.
Sure.
If you don't mind. Stop right there for a second. So that means if any lawsuits that we win, then the money is going to be taken, or they're expecting for us to pay the monies back.
They're going to want to be recompensated. Yeah, they're going out on a limb and compensating you for being the victim of a crime. But if you are involved in a lawsuit at some future date and receive money in addition to what you receive from the Victim Compensation Fund, they will ask to be repaid the amount that you, not the full amount that you receive, but the amount that they pay you.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
Next section says, below that, I agree that the failure to immediately inform victim compensation of the existence of any Other funds constituting payment for my injury may be considered fraud, and that victim compensation services may reduce or deny my claim or may initiate an action to recover funds previously paid. They're basically saying if you've already sued somebody and been paid and you're applying for victim compensation fund, it's going to be considered fraud. None of us have filed lawsuit and been paid, so it doesn't apply to any of us. I agree that the victim compensation services may pay compensation directly to the provider for any unpaid expenses relating to this victim. So if you have gone to see a doctor and you haven't paid the bill, the victim compensation services may pay them directly without giving you the money first.
Mm-hmm.
That just gets it off your record and it keeps your credit intact. The next section says, I understand that willfully and knowingly providing false information could result in this claim being disallowed and or imprisonment up to 5 years. So be very honest on the application. Don't exaggerate because they mean business and they will deny the application if they find discrepancies.
Okay.
And then you certify under penalty of law that the information contained in the application is true to the best of your knowledge. Then the last section is for your signature. It says, by signing below, you attest that the above information is true and accurate. Further, by signing below, you understand and acknowledge that North Carolina General Statute Section 15B-7B states that a person who knowingly and willingly presents or attempts to present a false or fraudulent or state officer or employee who knowingly and willingly participate or assist in the preparation or presentation of a false or fraudulent application is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor if the application is for a claim of not more than $400. If the application is a claim or more than $400, the person is guilty of a Class 1 felony.
We all know that we're a person listening.
Somebody is talking in the background.
None of us are doing this fraudulently. We're all looking for acknowledgement from a state-run organization that we're suffering from Havana syndrome because the federal government turned their back on us. So nothing we're doing is fraudulent or false. We're going to the state as a last resort, and we are going for not only acknowledgement but medical and financial assistance as well.
So
I can hear somebody in the background. If you all will mute, please.
Thank you.
So, Scott, my question is, every medical practice for the last, I guess, especially since I've been shot, which was 21, I have been displaced or removed from a medical practice simply because I have questions about my shooting, and I may sometimes talk about the Havana syndrome, and I may discuss the issue with my leg as to whether or not these bullets can be taken out. On Section 5, would I add on that I do not have a medical doctor because of that reason, and also not able to obtain my medical records, just as a side note?
Section 4, injuries information. Where is it? Claimant.
Section 4.
Section 4. Did the victim receive medical treatment? There are two different cases. For Havana syndrome, you can repeat your question in regards to Havana syndrome one more time. I want to make sure that I answer it correctly.
So, yeah, it's documented in my medical records, Havana syndrome. I can't get my medical records. Do I need to, on the side sheet, with the notes that I have in addition, do I need to put that I cannot obtain my medical records, and also I cannot obtain a medical doctor because I am being displaced every time I seek medical help from the practice or a practice?
The question is, did you receive medical treatment? And your answer is yes. You would put the physician who provided the medical treatment and put Havana syndrome in your report, their address, city, state, and zip. The state of North Carolina will contact their office and get your medical records for you to verify it.
Right, but I was just simply making a side note for them to note that. So is it necessary or not?
You can put that in the cover letter that you've been back to the doctor and requested copies of your medical records and been refused, and the state would have to contact the doctor in order to get the records.
Okay, and also refuse medical attention. I've actually been told to leave the medical practices that I have actually got assigned as my medical doctor. I have been told to leave the practice, get out, that type of thing.
They refuse to see you after a while and refuse to give you any information, and this is the name of the physician and their address, and they'll take care of it. The doctor will get a letter from the state and will scare the daylights out of him. He will comply with what they request.
Right. Good.
And that concludes the application for North Carolina. I want to reiterate. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
I got a question. Do you have a copy of this form filled out that you could share with us? No.
Yes. I do.
I have a copy of the California form that I filled out.
Do you mind sharing it?
Basically, the information. Yeah, I don't mind sharing it. Do you have my phone number?
Yeah.
I did write it on 310-339-0162.
Yeah, just shoot me a text first. Let me know that you want me to call you back or you're about to call and who you are. I'll know to pick up. Most of the information on the application is standard and unique to you. What's most important is the cover letter that explains the situation about how you've been human trafficked for experimentation with directed energy weapons and neuro weapons, and talking about the fact that you have an ongoing traumatic brain injury that you are rehabilitating from is really the most important thing that you need to worry about. Most of the stuff on the application is your name, your address, your insurance information, the crime information, when it first started, what kind of injuries you've received, what types of economic loss that you've incurred, and if you have an attorney and a signature. So the application is fairly standard. I'm happy to share with you what I have. I'm just going to mark off my address and social security number, but I can dig that up. It's at my apartment. I'm house sitting right now, so it's at my apartment. It would take me a few days to get it to you. But if you're interested in looking at it, I'm happy to share it. The California application is 6 pages instead of 2, so it's a little bit longer and more detailed. But you primarily want to get a copy of the cover letter from Sandra. Yes. She's got that. It's very well written. It explains that citizens have been excluded from the Havana Act, that the police department sends us to the federal government. The federal government is now sending us to the state, and now we're applying through the state victim compensation fund for assistance and acknowledgement.
Okay.
Hey, Sam, did you
Also,
send
I
this?
want to say, I'm sorry, I just want to say, too, that if you put your email, send me an email. I just put it in the chat. My email is sandra@ishellbloom.com, and I'll make sure that you get an example of one of the forms filled out and also the cover letter.